Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome, welcome. My name is Glenn Hill. I'm the founder of Norfolk Senior Strong. And okay, we're sitting and we're talking. I'm Glenn Hill, founder of Norfolk Senior Strong. To those that are joining us today from our launch meeting in February, welcome back. To our newcomers, one of which I met already today, welcome. We're super glad you are here. We are very glad you are here. Welcome to everyone. There's an attendance roster that's being passed around. If everybody can please sign that. You don't have to put any personal information down if you don't want to, but later in the meeting we're going to talk about having a mailing list. And if you want to be on the mailing list, tell me on the attendance sheet that it's okay to be on the mailing list, and then we'll have a mailing list. But it's going to be up to you guys. I'm just a lowly facilitator. You guys are going to make the decisions, okay? All right, so let's move forward. When I conceived this group, I conceived it not only as a way for seniors to help each other, but I also conceived it as a way to register our voices, and register our hands, and register our will at the ballot box and at town meeting. Later in this meeting, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We are allowed to conduct political activity here in the library. We are not doing it inside someone's office. We're doing it in an open area. This is a private meeting, so it's fully legal under the Massachusetts and U.S. constitutions to do so. So I'll be talking about that a little later. If you don't have an agenda, there are agendas up on the table if you want or need them. Today, I'm going to be passing around 2 slates of nomination papers. Does everybody know what nomination papers are? All they are is a sheet that places a name on the ballot in the Norfolk town election. In order to sign nomination papers, you must be a Norfolk resident. You have to live here in Norfolk in order to sign them. You're not voting for anybody in signing papers. All you do, you're helping put a person's name on the ballot. So if you live in Norfolk today and you feel comfortable signing a nomination paper, I'll be passing those around to you later in the meeting, okay? And if anybody has any questions about that, feel free to ask me. Today, we only have 75 minutes, so it's going to be a super fast, action-packed meeting that I think you're going to find very engaging. It's taken me weeks to get ready for today, so let's hope that it goes well. NCTV is here today. Andrew, thank you for being here. As you may know, NCTV covers community events. They cover our meetings and they post them on the web so that those that are unable to join us today can join us from the comfort of their homes. We also have an advertisement on NCTV that features yours truly. I urge you to go to the website and watch it so you'll learn what we're all about. Near the end of today's meeting, we're going to be answering 3 questions together. We're going to do it as a group. Question 1 is, does the group want a published contact list that everyone can share? That's the first question. The second question is, what day of the week and the time for these meetings is going to work best for the most number of people who are in the room today? We started on Saturdays because Saturdays was convenient for me. I have a lot of medical appointments during the week, so Saturday was a day for me. But we don't have to meet on Saturdays. It could be any day. You guys are going to make the decision, not me. Finally, does the group want to meet in the summer during June, July, and August? If you want to meet, I will facilitate. If you don't want to meet, I'm okay with that too. But again, you will make the decision. As I always say in these meetings, please make sure everything today, everything that you say, everything that you do is in the interest of seniors. If it's not in the interest of seniors, it's for somebody else's meeting. It's not for this meeting. We're all about the help. H-E-L-P, it's about help. There's a bunch of handouts. If everybody has handouts, great. There was a lot of effort this week that went into putting handouts together for you. Please feel free to take them. Let me just briefly review what they are. There's notes from our February launch meeting. There's a list of local, state, and federal officials that we can contact to address when we have issues, concerns, questions, and problems. There's a voter registration briefing sheet for how to get registered to vote here in Norfolk if you're a Norfolk resident. If you wish to vote at town meeting, if you wish to vote in the town election that's coming up, you must be registered to do so, and there's different ways to do it. The briefing sheet will tell you how. There's a vote by mail application for those of us that are not comfortable going to the polls. You can vote by mail. Our wonderful town clerk, Carol Green, is one of the outstanding clerks in Massachusetts who is fighting hard to keep vote by mail in this town. So let's use that service. I'm going to be talking today about Project 100 Seniors. We're going to launch that project this afternoon. 100 Seniors is going to deliver 100 seniors to the spring town meeting in this town. Right now, I don't know how we're going to do it, but I can tell this group that we will do it. We will do it. The only question is, how will we do it? The idea is already alive. The idea lives. Now we just have to figure out how. There's a worksheet called the What Am I Good At worksheet. One of the techniques that we use in Norfolk Senior Strong is that we share our skills, talents, and abilities and resources with one another so that we know what we're all good at. I've worked in many startup companies in my life, as small as 4 people. And doing that, going around the room and sharing what you're good at is key to putting together a toolbox that groups can use to solve problems. So we're going to steal that idea from startup companies, and we're going to use it here in Norfolk Senior Strong. Finally, there's an announcement about the Community Potluck Supper. How many have attended the Norfolk Community Potluck Supper? I see hands. That's a good thing. Okay. If you don't know about the Potluck Supper, there's a briefing sheet up here that will tell you all about it. I urge you to read it, and I urge you to participate. Our very own Kevin Roach is in a leadership role for the Community Potluck Supper. I went the other night at his invitation, and I'll tell you, it was one of the most heartwarming experiences I have ever had in my life. And I thank Kevin for that, and I'll be there again. It's a good thing. So let's give Kevin a round of applause for his leadership. Well done, Kevin. Okay, so now on to announcements. Our first meeting that happened in only 17 days after the idea started had 15 people, which is remarkable. And now today, I think we might even have more, so that's a good thing. Lots of great ideas and comments came up in our last meeting. Comments are the fuel of innovation. Let's keep using them. Let's keep them coming. The February meeting notes are up on the table. They're also published on our Facebook page, Norfolk Senior Strong. How many use Facebook to follow our group? Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. Later today, we're going to be talking about if there are other means that participants wish to use other than Facebook. Because Facebook's not perfect, right? We know that. Okay. So you can follow news and announcements on our Facebook page. Let's see. Show of hands. How many prefer something other than Facebook to get communications from our group? How many prefer not Facebook? Raise your hand. This is a safe space. Okay, the scribe will count. Keep your hands up so the scribe can count. I see a couple of hands. 3 hands? Okay. 4, okay, 3.5 hands. Okay. Okay, there's a 4th hand. You see how easy I am? I'm easy. I'm an easy facilitator. Okay. Town meeting, Norfolk Town meeting coming up May 14th, okay, at the KP Middle School. If we want to have our voices and our votes registered at town meeting, there's only one way to do it. We have to be there. And I want to tie that into Project 100 Seniors. See the connection between those two things? We're going to deliver 100 seniors to town meeting, okay? Our group is going to need a co-leader. I cannot do this work alone. If anybody has ideas about who might kind of have the temperament to be a co-leader, somebody like me, I hope, let me know. Our email address is seniorstrong@icloud.com. Feel free to email at any time. And it doesn't have to be about a co-leader. It could be about anything. Email me, talk to me, and I'll talk to you. Okay? Right after our last meeting, one commenter on our Facebook page published a conclusion that we were a closed meeting. I'll ask, show of hands, how many think that this meeting looks closed to you? Anybody? No, this meeting is not closed. It's never been closed, and it never will be closed. And I want to tie that into a comment that one of our participants made last time about Facebook. When you read something on Facebook, all it is somebody's view. It's their opinion. It's their observation. It's not fact. It just isn't. And those kind of comments can be very damaging. Okay, so like our participants said, take it with a grain of salt. Okay, also at the end of our last meeting, I was told that there was some confusion between our group and a group called Norfolk Strong. And just to make sure there is no confusion, we don't have any affiliation with Norfolk Strong. Norfolk Strong is a community service group that's out there, but we are not connected to that group. That's not to say that in the future we might not be connected to that group, because if it will help seniors, there will be a connection, okay? Just to clear that up. We have formed official relationships with the Senior Center, Norfolk Select Board, Fire Department, Police Department. We are spreading our reach in town, and I think you'll find that's a good thing. The Senior Center briefing sheet is up here for anybody who doesn't know about the Senior Center or wants to learn more about the Senior Center. I kind of distilled it for you all in one page. There was a lot of confusion in our last meeting about, what's the difference between the Senior Center and the Council on Aging and the Friends of the Elderly? It's all in the handout. And if anybody's had any questions, please see me at the end of the meeting, and I will help you. Okay. I talked about the community supper. Don't miss the community supper. It's held at the Grange Hall. If you look at really looking for a reason to go other than the fact that it would be heartwarming, the Grange is full of history. That building, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, 1870s?
Yes.
Okay. You need to see that building. You need to be in that building. Take it from me. Okay, we have a guest speaker today. Our guest speaker is Kevin Calcutt, former member of the Norfolk Select Board and a very good friend of mine, and it is my great pleasure to introduce him, so he will share with us today. Kevin, floor is yours, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to stay seated. Go right ahead. Thank you so much, Glenn, and thank you, everybody, for letting me share a few words with you today. First and foremost, you may have seen the fact that I am actually not a senior. Right? I'm not in that age group just yet. I do consider myself a senior in training. I'm almost there. I'm getting there slowly but surely, and I do hope to eventually get there down the road. But I do represent a segment of our community that is particularly interested in being able to support seniors in our community. Right? Norfolk has a flurry of challenges ahead of it, whether it be the limited commercial zoning that we have in town to be able to build up that tax levy base, whether it be the big expenses that are coming down the pike that we have to try to find a way to bridge gaps on, or whether it be services oriented. Norfolk has its own set of challenges that need to be addressed, and we need to be able to have the input of all demographic groups in our town to be able to appropriately address them. So what I'm going to start with today is just a little bit of background about me, and then I'm going to have that segue into, as part of my experience in local government, what I found to be the most effective ways to advocate for what you're looking for when it comes to local policy. So first and foremost, my name is Kevin Calcutt. If you guys haven't seen, I have littered this town with lawn signs, mailers, and just about everything you can imagine over the course of the last 8 years. So first and foremost, apologies for that. I have been on the Norfolk Planning Board before. I was on the Norfolk Board of Selectmen for 2 terms, so 6 years. I have also been on the advisory committee where I am right now. I have served on the master plan committee, the town center zoning committee, a flurry of other small groups. At the county level, I'm on the county advisory board. I've also served on the MBTA advisory board before. What does all that mean? All that means is that throughout all of that time of all of this work on all of these things for this town, I've learned some pretty effective ways to be able to get to the people who are part of those decision-making processes, to be able to have your input be actually taken into account when those decisions are being made. Now, there's been some not so great ways that I've experienced, right? I had a couple of emails I was going to read to the group where they've been particularly incendiary, a little bit visceral, a little bit over-aggressive, but still, the fact that people were taking the initiative to reach out directly to these individuals to connect and engage, that is the most effective thing that you can do. So, first thing, if you want to be able to impact change in your community, what do you think is the most impactful way that you could go about doing that?
Be present.
Be present, absolutely. What else?
Show up.
Showing up. Yes, those are 2 of the biggest things right there. When I first moved into town, I moved into our first home, our first house. We were so excited to have our own property. And then we talked to our neighbors and they said, oh, you know the great woods behind your house? Yeah, that might be a 40B someday, so just get ready for that. And we were like, oh, wow, that kind of stinks. What can we do about that? And so I went to the town and said, hey, what's our plan for 40B? What are we doing to develop? What are we doing to ensure that our communities are not negatively impacted by these things? And they outlined a couple of initiatives, couple of plans, couple of things up in the air, but nothing that really gave me the confidence that that wasn't going to happen. So what did I do? I ran for planning board. I wanted to run for the board so I could be part of the conversation about how that works moving forward. So I would say the first thing that you can do to impact change and to be able to have your voice be heard, go run for office. There are so many different offices in our town that have so many open seats. In some cases, they're never contested, that you could go out and be part of those conversations directly. Now, is it for everybody? No. I wholeheartedly understand that that kind of forum, that kind of input is not for everybody. So the second thing, like you just said, be engaged. Be part of those conversations. If there's a meeting going on at town hall that's touching on a subject that's important to you or your neighbors, attend it. Be in the crowd. Raise your hand. Ask questions. Most of these meetings have a public comment period. Get up there at the microphone and share your perspective, because that perspective is so important for people to take into account when they have these discussions and when they make decisions for the future of our communities. The third thing is that when you are engaging with these individuals, when you're reaching out to Mr. Kevin Roach, who's on our select board, be open to understanding more about the topic than just what you're bringing forward. When I came into this role, I told you I came in because I thought that 40B was being mismanaged by our town, and we didn't have a great plan in place. What I found out after 1 year on that board, we did have a pretty good plan in place. It just was a communication gap. We needed to get people more engaged and make them understand what was being done. If I would have come in with like this hyper-aggressive mentality and said, I'm right, you're wrong, and I'm going to tell you about why you're wrong, I don't know if we ever would have been able to come to an understanding about how we move forward together. So when you do reach out, when you do engage with people in these positions, understand that there is a lot more to learn than there is to be able to convey via your perspective. So, I mean, that's what I've garnered as the most impressive and the most effective ways to be able to enact change in your communities. But I'm sure that everybody here has different ideas about ways that you can do that too. So if you have different ideas, whether it be, well, I'm wholeheartedly against social media personally, but if you have ways to be able to reach out, whether it's select board office hours, whether it's fantastic community group meetings like this, or whether it's just attending those meetings, please act on that. Get out there. Let your voice be heard, because on behalf of somebody who served in local government, that is the most valuable perspective that we have, is people getting out there, sharing their point of view, and being able to take that into account as you make these decisions moving forward. If anybody has any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them now, or I'm sure Glenn would be more than happy to share my information if you wanted to ask me after the meeting. So thank you once again for letting me speak today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of your afternoon.
Big hand for Kevin Calcutt. Kevin, thank you very much for sharing with us today. Your words inspire me. I hope they inspire others too. And you're a good model. You're a good model. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now is the time. You've heard enough of me. Let's get some water, something sweet. Cookies today were baked by Master Baker John Conti, our scribe in the back. Big hand for John for baking today. Thank you, John. I want everybody to know the gentleman who's sitting down right now, Jack.
Who's that?
Jack came from Plainville. He came from Plainville to join us today. What does that tell us?
I finally qualified as a
I'm not.
senator.
Are there
I was going to
others?
throw him out because he's not there yet.
Okay, all right. Are there others? Are there people today who are not, other than Jack, who are not from Norfolk? Okay. Jack came from Plainville. He found out about us. I didn't reach out to Jack,
Yeah,
but
there's
he
a good
found
article
out.
on that, and
He found
this
out.
young man here was mentioned in it too.
All right. It just goes to show
Maybe that
you.
was when you were selected. Maybe.
It just goes to show you the power of connection, the power of connection. That is why we are here, the power of connection. Okay. First item in our agenda, old business. Does anybody have any leftovers from the last meeting? Things you wanted to say but you didn't say, things you wanted to share that you didn't share. We're all about the sharing. We're all about the sharing. So if anybody has anything left over, now is the time. I'm listening. Okay. All right, I don't hear anything left over. We're going to move on. New business. If anyone needs an accommodation to more fully participate in this meeting, no matter what it is, see me at the end of the meeting. We're all about accommodations. It could be large print. It could be an assistive device. Whatever it is, see me, okay? Don't be shy. I'm a very friendly guy. Kevin will tell you. Both Kevins will tell you. Okay? So here we go, new business. The first thing we're going to do in every meeting is we're going to have a moment for ideas and innovations, okay? Innovations are the fuel that makes change in any group. I don't care whether you're a startup company, I don't care whether you're a first grade class, I don't care who you are or what you are. If you don't have innovation, you've got nothing. Today we're going to have an innovation, and that innovation is going to be shared by Ann, who is a member of our group, and now I'm going to turn the mic over to Ann, who is going to share her innovation with us. Please welcome Ann, everyone. Please welcome her. There you go. There you go. That's what it's all about.
Okay, I don't know if I'll need them. I can project my voice pretty well. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah,
Fine.
that's good.
No?
Good.
Good.
No, she requested you use the microphone.
Okay. Is this better? Is this better? Okay. Here we go. Now I sound like I'm a radio person. I'm on the radio. FM radio. Okay. A famous person who's in this room said at one time that you can have an idea in your head, but until it is put on paper, it isn't born. So it needs to be put down in some form on paper, I suppose molded in clay, written in paint, whatever. But it has to be born through some medium that is not other than whirling around in your head. So my idea is, and feel free to shoot it down, is that we have a thing that I'm calling an idea book, because that's what this thing is all about, is if we can write, say, get 100 ideas from 100 seniors, we'll have a lot of material to work with, and a lot of change can be made. So I'm suggesting, this is why I don't really care for the mic, it doesn't have to be this ugly. This is a prototype. I got this from CVS. They usually have a nice line of really attractive top spiral bounds. But anyway, this is our prototype book. So it is now born, this idea. This is the idea book. And what I am suggesting is that there will be written the date. You can put your name, or you can write anonymous, I suppose, if you want. And then there's a space you can write down your idea. And it doesn't have to be all one line. It can take the whole page, because there are a lot of pages in this thing. And we can write on the back, too. But this book will come to every meeting, and it'll just sit there on the table. And at any point, you can come and write down your idea. Now, what are ideas? Ideas are things, it can be anything. Which is great, because you can't write something down and it won't be called an idea. So you're good from the start. An idea can be a question, a problem, a need, a want, a wish, hopes, proposals, impediments to quality of life, or impediments to personal or community growth. That's just a few examples of ideas. So you'd write that down in here. It's something you think the group can work on, something you personally might like help with, company you might want to go for walks, any of these things. The book will be open to everyone at every meeting, and between the collective wisdom of this group and the collective experience of this group, I think we'll be able to give birth to a lot of ideas. Now, that's my idea, the idea book. Thank you.
Let's have a big round of applause for Anne for her idea. Anne's idea is the first innovation, other than the fact that the group was put together. It's the first innovation that the group had, and it's meaningful. Anne came up with this idea on her own. No one told her to do it. No one asked her to do it. She did it on her own. And that is what we are all about, taking initiative, having ideas, creating innovation. This is how groups move forward. Anne, thank you for your sharing. Anne explained how the book works. The book lives. The book is alive. It's coming to every meeting. Big hand. Let's have another round of applause for Anne for her idea. Let's hear it. Let's hear it, Anne. Good work. Okay, now, group sharing exercise number 1. Here we go. This is open sharing. You can say anything you want. Our scribe, John, in the back, will take down notes. Okay, thank you, John. Last time we were together, we said that we are not adequately informed. Okay, that was the consensus of the group. We're going to work on that today. Here we go. First question, what forms of town communications do we prefer and rely on? Open sharing, anybody, say anything you want. I don't.
Town meeting, I don't feel it's safe for seniors. And that's the biggest impediment, I feel, for seniors to be going to town meeting. It's very dark. It's on the side street, King Street, which...
Can't drive. I can't drive at night, too. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. What are you saying?
I can't drive in the dark. So that's my impediment.
Right. And if you've ever tried to go to town meeting, King Street on both sides, it's so narrow, there's cars parked, how can we facilitate
Well,
seniors?
I was gonna suggest if there's that many people that seniors can't drive, we'll get a school bus
There you go.
that will go around and pick up all the seniors and bring them to the town meeting and bring them home afterwards.
I like that.
Next year, I'm proposing we're gonna do it on a Saturday afternoon.
Oh, I love that.
You know, so I couldn't get that done this year, but hopefully next year I can get it on a Saturday afternoon, which is more convenient for everybody.
For everyone.
You know, but, and like he was saying, he wants to get 100 seniors to go to the town meeting. If 100 seniors go to the town meeting, the seniors are gonna decide what goes on. They're gonna decide on everything.
Exactly.
Because generally, there's 100 to 100, what is it, 100, 150 people, Kevin?
Correct.
At a town meeting.
Yep.
You get 100 seniors, you're gonna be able to decide on everything for the town, if that's the case. But you can't, you need to have a voice. It is, I think it's awful that 125 people decide a $52 million budget.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, hopefully my goal is next year that we have a town meeting that we have to have at a football field because it's 500 people. There's no auditorium that will hold it. I'm gonna get a lot of signs, I want people to vote. I mean, you get 7 to 10% of the town voting on a town election that makes all the decisions for the town.
I know, I haven't been in years for that reason.
What?
And for
Street.
the safety.
Right, well,
But if it's on a Saturday afternoon, even if people can't drive, the idea of the school bus, I was going to
That's
say,
the best idea.
what's wrong with the COA bus?
well,
Or
if
maybe
there's
it can't be used for political
well,
reasons?
well, no, if the town meeting wouldn't be political, but the whole problem is the senior bus probably holds 15 to 20 people.
Yeah.
And if we're trying to get 100 people, and there's 50 people that can't drive,
Yeah,
the school bus is more than capable of doing
I
it.
love
So
that.
I hope enough people can get out there and get,
how do we have that happen though, Kevin?
well, we'll start here, and people can put down their names and the phone numbers that like to go, and maybe, Glenn can help out with that, and we'll get a sign-up list, and everyone that wants to sign up, and I'll talk to Holmes's buses, I'm sure they'll give us a discount on the buses, and we'll make it happen, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 buses, to bring everyone to the meeting.
You guys are good, you don't need me anymore, you've launched your own ship, what do you need me for?
I'd be willing to, I mean, I don't know, I don't want to speak for other people, but maybe if some people who could kick in like $5 for their bus ride or something.
There you go.
Defray the cost. And yeah, just put our name and our address, and we can stand out there in front of our house like we're little school kids.
I'm Jack Shepperson from Plainville. I used to drive the bus. We have a Gatra bus, holds about 15. Donations for the seniors is about $3 each time.
Right,
Now, does the Gatra bus go at night as well, or only during the day?
I don't think it's.
That we don't do.
Right.
Yet.
Yeah.
Yet, yeah.
Is everybody sensing the magic in this discussion like I am? How many people sense the magic in this discussion? How many? Let me see. How many sense the magic in this discussion? Who understands what is happening here? I understand what's happening. This is the power of connection. Do you know how many ideas went across this room in the last 30 seconds? At least 10. At least 10. I counted them.
When on the same, I'm sorry to kind of hog it, but on the same theme, why is the town meeting held at the middle school and not Freeman Kennedy?
Because it has a bigger auditorium.
I think
Because that's a safer area for me to drive at night.
Right.
I think what I'd like to do now, if we can, thank you very much for that. I think I'd like to, we're going to have another point in the meeting, we're going to talk about impediments to town meeting. But I think that was a perfect example of why this group works. All the ideas that went across in the last minute. In the last minute, thank you to everybody who did that. So we're going to get to that in a little bit. Let's go back to communications. What forms of communications do people want the town to use? The town uses Facebook. The town uses a reverse 911 system. You know, they ring our phones sometimes. I don't think I've ever gotten emails directly from the town unless there was a reverse 911 thing. How do people want to get communications from the town? Open sharing. How do you want it? How do you want it to happen?
I look up Norfolk Community Facebook page pretty often, like almost every day.
Okay, so some people look
And
on the
look it up on
Norfolk
Facebook.
Community Facebook page, and I want to glom onto that comment. The Norfolk Community Facebook page is a moderated forum. Moderated. Does everybody know what moderated means? It means that the speech is subject to change or censorship based on who owns that page. That page is not an authoritative source for anything about this town. It is at the behest of whoever moderates that page, okay? Next, what other forms of communication do you want the town to use? Melissa Mayo.
Okay, I'm not a senior.
You don't have to be a senior to be part of Norfolk Senior Strong.
Okay. The town newsletter that was
quarters ago, yeah.
2 quarters ago. And it was just quarterly at the beginning, but it did have everything, so you didn't have to go through all the comments on that.
Is that the Norfolk Rentham?
No, that's an actual newspaper, and it's 2 towns, and you can get some information there. But the town administrator's office put out a digital, thank you. The town administrator's office put out a digital newsletter. It was quarterly at first, and that was really resource constraints. And I would love for that to be a monthly, at a minimum, newsletter that has all sorts of information about the town or the meetings, you know, what goes on in the various meetings. We have 20+ boards and committees in town, and it's just not feasible for most people, especially when you have young kids and you're running around to sporting events and all the other things that you have to do to join those meetings. You know, 2-3 hours at a time and 20+ per month. But if there was just a way that we could consolidate, kind of summarize what happened in those meetings, I think that would be really helpful for getting the information out.
Find this though, how would it show up?
So right now it's on the town website, and I think you can sign up to get it emailed to you, but Kevin, you probably know better than me.
Yeah, so you can sign up for an email distribution where you would get an email to you each time it's deployed. It's posted onto, thank you, the town website. And it's also printed. I believe there's printed copies that are dropped at the senior center and here at the library. So it is distributed. I don't know if it's widely distributed just yet. I don't know if enough people know about it.
Thanks very much. Did anybody want to add on to? Oh,
I
John,
have a
please.
question for you, Glenn. You made a point,
You don't
I'm
need a
not sure if I
microphone.
need it. You made a point of saying that the Facebook page, which is my preferred way of getting information, is moderated. What are the implications of that? Are you telling us that we may not be getting information that we should be getting, or someone is stopping us seeing everything?
John, that's a very good question. Thanks very much. What moderation means is that the owner of that page is screening what is written. And they may decide that whatever was written they don't want there, so it will either not show up or it might be changed. That's moderation. So the Norfolk Community Facebook page has morphed a little bit over time. It used to be very tightly moderated. Now it seems to be a little more loosely moderated from my perspective as a poster. Our group actually got its birth inside the Norfolk Community Facebook page thanks to them, and we gave them credit at the last meeting. But the page is moderated. The page is moderated. So whatever you read there reflects the views of the moderator, not necessarily the views of whoever gave information. So that's why we just need to be mindful about when we're reading a moderated forum, what that means to us in terms of the information. But I will say the Norfolk Community page has a rich trove of information about events and things that are going on in town. It's doing a good job. And we just need to be mindful of what moderation is. Thanks, John.
Do you happen to know how many, or maybe you know, Kevin, how many seniors are signed up on the Facebook page?
On our page?
Yeah. No, well, on whichever page is the best page to get information.
As far as the Norfolk Community Facebook page goes, I don't know what their statistics are. I can tell you that we have 100 followers on our page here for Norfolk Senior Strong, and we've had far north of 300 unique views. So there is activity within our Facebook page. Our Facebook page, John, and I'm glad you mentioned that, is wide open. It is a public page. It's not a membership page. It's not a private group. It's open to everybody. And that was for a reason, because I want us to be an open group. I want people to be able to find us, right? If they can't find us, then they're not going to know that we're here. That has some pitfalls, because we've already had a few intruders that I've had to block on the page, and that's a super pain in the butt for me, because I don't have enough work to do, as you all know. So, there is some work implied in having a Facebook presence. There are alternatives to Facebook. We could have a website, but that requires money. You have to pay for a domain name, and you have to pay for web hosting services, and those are not inexpensive. Later on this meeting, we're going to talk about that. Okay, so that's
If I can
coming
say
up.
one thing.
Please, Kevin, you have the floor.
Norfolk page where you can go on is where you can get some information. It probably doesn't have enough information, but hopefully I can get more information. In the monthly newsletter, the newsletters, hopefully I can address some of the boards, the listeners on the planning board, and get them to summarize the meeting. If I can get someone to organize all that there and put the monthly newsletter on. That will be the place you can get the direct information. It won't be opinions, it will be the actual facts about everything that's going on in Norfolk.
The thing I like about Facebook is it's a push system.
Yep.
So we get information based on information that's being sent out. If it's a website or something else, when you have to go in to look for it. And if you don't do it, you don't know it's there, or what's the way I could put it? So I prefer the push system.
Yes, but the whole problem with that is it's sometimes a person's opinion or the moderators. Where if you go to the town website, that's just gonna be all the facts.
Yeah.
So,
The good news in this conversation is, well, John and Kevin makes a good point for what's called a digest. A digest is kind of like a briefing of stuff that happened, and that's a really great idea. John Davies also has a good point that a website, you have to go get whatever it is you want from a website. So these are gnarly problems, but what I will tell you is we will come to solutions in this meeting. Melissa, go.
There is a way that you can get them emailed to you directly from the town website. We can go through all of that in another session if that's helpful. But you can sign up to, you can subscribe to get an email, so anytime that it is released, you'll get an email, it'll be in your inbox.
Can everybody hear Melissa okay? You can subscribe to get an email from a town website when there is activity within a meeting. Did I get that right, Melissa?
Yep, so you can sign up for various different pages on the website, and you can also do that for the town newsletter. So when there's an update on that page, when there's a new document posted there, or new content posted, then you'll get an email if you sign up for, you don't have to sign up for all communications for every single page, just the ones that are important to you.
Maybe someday someone can do a demonstration of how to sign up to get on the email. To get
John
the
Bowman, go.
email.
And I'm not sure when, but who controls that? Together,
Who controls what?
The-
It's on Facebook, Justin.
you know, head of the Lions, the head of the Lions, the head of the Republican Town Committee, the head of the Democratic Town Committee, the head of Norfolk Strong, the head of Norfolk Senior Strong, you know, because all of these groups have one consistent problem, and that's communicating. We all struggle with that one, Glenn. In the absence of there being any local news, which I frankly feel there isn't much local news, I'd venture to guess if you were to pull all of these leaders together, we'd be able to come up with something. You know, some website that we can jointly fund. There's resources across the town in people that would be more than willing to do the writing and the maintaining of the website. And that may end up acting as a neat communication vehicle, not only for Norfolk seniors, okay, but for the Norfolk Strong Group, for the Republican Town Committee, the Democratic Town Committee. The challenge, Glenn, is you're going to be getting a bunch of people who typically don't work together, who have strong opinions, but hopefully you can get them to come together, you know, with the common denominator being a better Norfolk for everyone.
Thanks, John. Thank you, buddy.
Glenn, can I pose a question to the group?
You bet. Kevin, you got the floor, buddy. You guys are going to run me ragged.
Sorry. So, ages ago, we used to do a monthly cable show where we would kind of collect all of the happenings in town. We'd review about the big items, we'd highlight some things that are coming down the pike, and we'd give notice for future events so people could put it on their radars. From your collective experience, do you think that having an outlet like that, a cable show that tried to summarize and bring that all together and pack it into a quick hit 25, 30-minute segment would be valuable and useful to the group? Or do you feel it's just another thing that you have to go get?
It's kind of both.
Yeah.
I think it would be useful, but it's just, as you said, one more thing you have to dig into,
Yeah.
you know. But that's also something you can see when you want to watch something. Well, maybe cable TV can tell us. Can you select what you want to see?
Like, yeah, can you watch
At
it at
different
any
times.
time?
Like,
Or do you
at
have to
any
watch it
given
when
time.
it's being broadcast?
So NCTV does an incredible job of posting all of their shows on YouTube. You could do
Yeah.
a search there and find the topic you want. They've also started timestamping those episodes. So if you just really wanted to hear the 2.5-minute segment on what's coming on at next town meeting, you could just jump to that 2.5-minute segment and not have to watch the other 30 minutes. So there are ways to be able to pinpoint that a little bit better.
I can give you an example. Just within the last month, I think, I received on the Facebook page a notification there was going to be a meeting at the senior center to discuss the town's negotiation for electricity supply company. Brilliant. That's fantastic. If I hadn't received that, I wouldn't have known it was going. And that's exactly the kind of thing that I would be interested in.
Kevin was just advising me that Norfolk does have a Facebook page that's controlled by the town.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's the one you got it on or not, but.
Norfolk Community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Community page.
I didn't know there were different options of
Yes.
Facebook pages.
One is the town of Norfolk, and the other one is the moderated page, the community
Okay.
page. The regular town of Norfolk page.
Oh, the Norfolk Community, is that the name of it?
Well, one is the town of Norfolk.
Okay.
And the other one's Norfolk Community.
Community,
Paper.
that's what I think I've seen.
Yes.
And the Norfolk Community one is run by a moderator.
Okay,
And the town of Norfolk one is run by the town administrator that gives all the information out.
okay.
And to take Kevin's idea one step further, something that closer, is that good? That I threw out as an idea in a different meeting was taking those community shows on NCTV, and if there's something, if it's about 40B, Chapter 40B developments or something, if there's, when you have these 30-minute shows, I watch them. I'm probably one of 3 or 4 who watch them. Sorry, Andrew, maybe 35. But, I watch them. And I think if we could even take those, where it's now time-stamped, if we could take those kind of snippets of information and put them out on social media, we'll figure out what page is the best one. But put it out there so people can learn about, what is a 40B development, or, what is the select board working on for discounted municipal electricity, or, little things. Yeah. Right, and then have that stored somewhere so you can go, if you happen, have them come out to you in social media so you can get alerts, and have them be short so you can just learn, something quick. Because the attention span now is, a lot less than it used to be, especially for super busy people. So I think if we could, make those into little chunks of videos and put them out on social media, that would be helpful for a lot of busy people in town too.
Yeah, that way people can see, like, okay, I'm interested in housing, or I'm interested in what's going on with businesses, or what are they doing with that site
Yes.
over there.
Yeah, there's so much
And just,
information.
like, yeah, just.
And it's all within 3-hour meetings. So it gets lost. And then we, between Kevin and I think all over social media, we're constantly, it's like whack-a-mole, where you're answering the same questions over and over and over. But you want to do that because you want people to be informed. But it's, it's kind of never ending. So it would be nice to be able to put content out there proactively for people to see as well.
Thank you very much, Melissa, and everyone for their sharing. We're into the last 35 minutes of our meeting here, so I'm going to skip a few questions that I wanted to ask. We're going to conclude the discussion of communications now. I heard a lot of ideas. I heard some grievances, right? We heard a few grievances. We're not totally happy. There are a few ideas. There are implications from those ideas. What we're going to do in the coming days is that everything that is said today will be put out in meeting notes. We'll put it in writing. I'll publish it on our Facebook page. If the group decides to do a mailing list, I will mail it out to everybody, okay? And we'll also have hard copies if those, some people prefer a hard copy. They don't want to read email. That's good. I can handle that. I'm easy, okay? So we're going to skip forward now. If there's nothing more in communications, going once, going twice. Communications is closed. This is our last group sharing exercise for the day. We talked about town meeting. We talked about having our voices and our votes counted at town meeting. We need to be seen at town meeting. If we're not seen, we will be ignored. Okay. So what we want to do now in group sharing exercise number 2, this is 2 kinds of sharing. We're going to have show of hands, and we're also going to have open sharing, again, where you can say whatever you want. Remember, this is a safe space. This is a safe space. I designed it that way. That was intentional. Okay, show of hands. How many feel that their interests are fully represented inside town governance events? And when I say town governance, I mean the select board meetings, committee meetings, town meetings. How many in this room feel that their interests are fully represented in these forums? Show of hands. I don't see any hands. So let me ask the group, is it fair to say that you truly do not feel that your interests are being represented? Show of hands. How many feel their interests are not represented? Put your hand up. Tell me. I'm easy. I'm a safe guy.
Are you saying not represented?
Right. What I saw, no hands went up. No hands went up when I asked the question, are your interests represented? So the logical other side of that is that no interests are being represented. Is that a fair statement?
I'm trying to think what my interests are.
They are represented or they are
I'm
not?
trying to think, what are my interests?
Well, only you know
What
that
kind
one.
of, what?
Only you know that one.
I know, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Does everybody know what I tried to do in those last two questions? I'm trying to get you to think. I'm trying to get you to think. I can't make you think. I can influence you to think. But what I will tell you from what I saw from my chair here is that people do not feel that their interests are fully represented. So how do you fix that? You go to town events. John, question from the back?
Well, yeah, the matters come up at town meeting, but it's our point of view that doesn't get represented. Things may be presented from the point of view of someone who cares very much about issues that are school-related or something related to something that matters to them personally. But senior matters, I get the sense that they're not very well represented.
John, thank you for that. More comments about our interests at town meeting, either represented or not represented. Talk to me. Talk to each other. You're talking.
I would agree with that. I don't see much about, I mean, there's the senior center, which is great, but I don't see senior points of view.
I agree with them. Some people get up and they speak their opinion, or another person might speak their opinion. But if you get 100 people, 100 seniors to the town meeting, and they decide, we don't want this, or we want this, it's gonna happen that way. Because the seniors are gonna have the vote, the majority of it. You know, and that's the only way you're gonna get your opinions heard, is to show up. And tell people what your opinions are, because otherwise they're not gonna know.
Okay, did everybody, I'm sure everybody heard Kevin because he does not have a weak voice. Did everybody hear what he said? Everybody hear what Kevin said? Okay. Okay. Listen and learn from what he said.
You might
Listen and
mention
learn.
that sometimes the meetings are stacked because each group has to override whatever's being said, and some are intimidated by that. Like the special groups come in for special amendments. Oh, that's our amendment, let's pass it. And the flag's raised, everybody votes yes.
Then afterwards, you see the room exit.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. They don't stay for the whole thing.
You see the magic in this group? Do you see the magic that's happening here? Like I say, you guys don't need me anymore. You can do this on your own. I can go home and have coffee. Okay, we're going to move on a little bit. John, go ahead, buddy.
Question for you, and I guess it's a question for the entire room. I know getting a bus is expensive, okay? I'm going back to town meeting for 2 seconds. Getting a bus is expensive. But I'd venture to guess, with all of the political groups and the community groups that are out there, if we were to ask for a call to action around carpooling, we could find 20 people willing to drive people to town meeting.
Just have a sign-up sheet.
Just have a sign-up sheet. All we have to do is ask. I guess my question for folks in the room is, would folks be comfortable with that?
Thanks, John.
It might be, but the insurance
I think
company,
just
even your
from
vehicle is a bus,
visuals,
is another.
The impact of a bus rolling up and a bunch of Q-tips like me getting off the bus would be something, newspaper worthy. Seniors, Norfolk seniors, take the wheel in getting themselves to town meeting.
Okay, so at least 1 year we have to use a bus, at least one.
I go with the bus.
I mean, I agree that carpooling is an excellent idea, and it's
It's more cost effective, yes.
more cost effective.
I will have to find
But I'm
out-
just thinking of like how to really show,
Make a statement, you know, a
Make a
bus
statement.
showing up with
Yeah.
50 seniors on it getting off, and the good thing about it is, they're not gonna leave as soon as this,
exactly.
like the special interest group,
We leave together.
you're gonna, right, they're gonna be there the whole entire meeting and make a difference on whatever they want to make a difference
Right,
on.
yes.
So if they get the agendas a week before, maybe it would be a good idea to, well, if we have a meeting before the town meeting, and everyone gets together,
Did everybody just hear what Kevin said again? Kevin does not have a weak voice. Did you listen to what Kevin said? Guess when our May meeting's gonna be? Right before town meeting. Okay, all right. John, thank you for that comment. I want to add a couple of things. In terms of offering a ride share where people sign up and give rides, I'm gonna put my lawyer hat on right now. I'm not a lawyer. I know a lot about the law, and that introduces legal liability. The drivers could be held liable if there's an accident. We don't want any of that. So John's idea is an excellent idea, and in a lot of venues that might work. However, especially when it comes to seniors, that might be a little legally risky. So what we do with that is we take that idea and we spin it around a little bit, and then we start talking about maybe a bus that gets chartered, right? Because the charter bus company takes a legal liability, let them worry about it, right? We just pay them, right? So more magic, right? Magic from
Don't you have
ideas.
GATRA in
I've
this?
heard multiple
We did.
ideas about how to get seniors to town meeting. So that's all good stuff. Anything more about how to get seniors to town meeting? Going once, going twice. We'll talk about it again. We'll talk about it again. One of the things we don't do in this meeting is we don't close the door on things. We always leave the door open because you never know when somebody's going to want to say something else, right? So we're not going to do that.
And can I say something? If something in your meeting has sparked an idea, you can, before you leave, go over and write it down in the idea book. And I think we'll look at the idea book every meeting, right? And see what's.
You bet we're going to look at the idea book at every meeting, and we're also
See
going
what's in the idea book. Oh, here's something more about the bus, you know, someone has an idea about the bus thing that we talked about last time. So you don't have to walk out of here and carry your idea with you and try to not forget it for a month. And that,
Just like Ann said before, when she introduced her idea, you write it down in the book. And when you write it down, you give birth to the idea, okay? Let's move on. How do people get, this is open sharing, how do you get to town meeting? How do you get to, for people who go to select board meetings, how do you get there? How do you get there? Open sharing, anybody can talk. I drive, because I can still drive. I hate it, and especially driving at night, because my eyes aren't that good anymore. So I'll be the first one to raise my hand and say, I hate driving at night. Anybody else?
I don't know.
Okay, there's another person who doesn't drive at night. Melissa Mayo, go.
I will, for the meetings that I'm not in, if it's not a planning board meeting, if it's select board or school committee, one of the ones that I follow regularly, I'll either join the Zoom and not let enough.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So I will, 7 PM meetings are tough. I have an 11-year-old daughter at home, and I have a lot of evening meetings for the town and other things, so I try to stay home for those meetings as much as possible. So I'll join either on Zoom or they stream, NCTV streams them on YouTube. So sometimes I'll watch it that way, but if you want to ask a question, you have to join via the Zoom and use the raise hand, and you can use the chat or whatever feature you want to use for asking questions. But it's just easier for me having a little one at home, so I join remotely.
Thank you, Melissa. Thanks. How do other people get to town government events? Does anybody take an Uber?
Just one per night.
Does anybody take a taxi? Does anybody get a ride from a friend? None of that.
Does
So,
anybody go?
I mean, maybe I should ask the more difficult question is, does anybody go to town governance events? Sorry about that, but I'm a 40-year investigator. I'm good at asking questions.
maybe that's where some of the ride sharing will go, if they're just gonna pick up one person to go to a town meeting. Well, well, Kevin can testify too. The town meeting, I mean, the regular selectmen meeting, no one goes to. And if you go to it, you find out a lot of information, you can give a public comment, and the selectmen do hear it. The whole problem, they can't make change if they don't know about any issues or anything else from the seniors. A lot of times the senior says they're not heard, but where would they be heard? If you don't go to the town meeting, you don't go to the select board meeting, nothing's gonna change unless you go and try to get it changed.
Again, they're at night.
What's that?
And I understand that.
All meetings are
because,
taped and posted
I mean,
live.
basically, your
Zoom,
positions, your volunteers, even though you've been voted in,
Right, but you can go on Zoom though.
yes, that's if everybody's capable.
Kevin brings up a really good point.
Maybe we need lessons on Zooming.
There you go.
Excellent. It's one of the best ideas I've ever heard in my life. That's a good one. Kevin brings up a really good point. And I will say, as Kevin will testify, I've been at select board meeting a couple of times in the last few months, and I've been rather loud in those meetings, been very clear about what I had to say. And if you can't get to a select board meeting, maybe somebody else can. Maybe if there's an issue coming before the select board that's important to you, tell somebody else about it. I'll go for you. I'll go for any one of you. If anybody in this group has an issue they want to put before the select board, tell me about it. I'll take it for you. I'll do the work, okay? That's just me. That's who I am. I'm a helper, right? And everybody knows how to reach me, seniorstrong@icloud.com. Do not be shy. One of the lessons I learned when I was 5 years old is do not be shy. Don't be shy, because if you're shy, you'll be ignored. Kevin brings up a good point. Get to the select board meeting. Donna Jones, go.
Thanks, Kevin.
Donna Jones. I frequently drive to, walk to, or watch most government meetings, any committee that is recorded, and sometimes I sit in on ones that choose not to be recorded. Each board has their own policy on public comment. The select board, you can have 3 minutes, you speak. They didn't know the subject ahead of time. They say, we're not going to respond tonight. But if you had something, I would suggest contact the town administrator. And he might say, I'll bring that up at the next select board meeting. If there's a development in a certain area, the planning board will talk with the developer, they'll talk amongst the board, and then they'll ask the public, is there any public comment? So it depends on the board. The administrative staff is very helpful for all these boards. I suggest you check with them. You know, how do I go about addressing my concern? And I will help with the technical training. Either if we can reserve a space in the library, or the senior center has 5 computers. Well, if we have 5 computers at the same time, I could walk you through how to Zoom and things like how to watch it on NCTV. NCTV is very few paid staff. If anybody had time to volunteer, you could take a select board meeting agenda, take the video, and sit at NCTV, which is right across the street next to Linda's, and say, just click. Here's the spot they start talking about Pondville. Here's the spot they start talking town meeting warrant. It's just a simple click, not highly technical, but you start to learn. That's how I started learning, was, oh my gosh, they have nice technical equipment. I don't know anything about government. And that's how I learned. So there's opportunities for people.
Thanks, Don.
Can I just ask to clarify what you were saying? So one of the volunteer jobs would be with the cable, they put on a show for you, and you would just be going like, okay, 12 seconds, click, you know, meeting opens, 15 seconds, click, and you stop and you go, beginning new business, old business, like that, and you just make handwritten notations of what happens at every second marker?
Or actually, YouTube has the feature where they say you can click transcript. So then off to the side, there's all the words that the computer thought it heard.
Oh, it summarizes
And so
already
you could
for
say,
I get it.
look for Pondville. And then you'd click at 3 minutes and 13 seconds, Pondville topic started.
Could I just include a quick procedural clarification? If somebody would like a note, an email, or a point read in the context of the meeting, all you have to do is email the town administrator before the meeting and cite that you would like this to be read into the record as part of public comment. Now, it would be absent the incredible articulation of Mr. Hill, if he was to take it and read it, but it still would be read into the record by either a member of the select board or the town administrator. So you have that option available to you as well.
Kevin, thank you for that. Kevin, thanks for that comment. That's really important, and I want to glom on to what Kevin said. If you have something that you want to say before the select board and you do not appear in person to say it, it does not have the force of law. It does not have the force of law. You must be there. You cannot submit anything electronically that you demand action be taken on. If you show up, it's different. Okay? Did I get that right, Kevin? Kind of?
So you can have something read into the record, a perspective, a point as part of public comment. If you're trying to initiate a discussion on a topic, that is not the appropriate forum to do that. That requires an item be added to the agenda and be brought before the board, might involve a discussion prior to or after. This is just to be able to get a perspective shared in the context of public comment.
It can be a little gnarly. Question, go.
No, I'm getting it. I was kind of nodding in agreement with what he was saying.
One of the things I think everybody should do, if you're able and willing to do it, is go on NCTV website, courtesy of Andrew and his buddy Logan at NCTV that do such a great job. Look at a select board meeting, review the video, and especially listen to public comments so you can understand what people are saying and how they say it, okay? Remember, you don't have to be there to give your comment. I'll give you a comment for you. As long as it's moral, legal, and ethical, I'll do it for you, okay? You don't have to do the work. Call me. Call me, email me, I'll do it for you.
So you just look up, you go to YouTube and put in Norfolk Cable.
Norfolk Community Television.
Norfolk.
I knew I got it right. Andrew was nodding at me, he knew I got it right.
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, it's all there, it is all there. And also, Use Truly is there, if you want to watch me, I'm on there too. Okay? Okay, we're going to move on now. There was a lot of really good discussion that came up, and it was a little bit scattered, but there's nothing wrong with that. You know, scattered clouds are okay. That's okay. And our talented scribe John is taking everything down. In another meeting, in our next month meeting, we're going to talk more about impediments to attending town meeting. Okay, so we're going to give some more airtime to that. Everything we said in our last sharing discussion will be distilled down, will be published in the meeting notes, it'll be put up on our Facebook page. I'll bring hard copies to the next meeting so everybody will be able to have it. Okay. One of the last things I wanted to say is that part of the purpose of Norfolk Senior Strong is to put together a toolbox of all the things we are good at. We're all good at things. Kevin is good at things. The other Kevin is good at things. I'm good at many things. Ann's good at many things. We're all good at some things. If we each know what we are all good at, we put together a very powerful toolbox that we can use to solve problems. If we're all sitting here and we all have our skills and knowledge and talents and we don't share them, then we're not leveraging our collective power and our collective talent. So part of the reason we come together is to do that sharing. And one of the ways that we're going to do it, there's a handout today. It's called the What Am I Good At worksheet. There's one person in the room today who is a nurse. She's good at many things, many, many, many things. There's probably things other than nursing that she's also good at. I'm good at the law. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm very good at the law. I'm a 40-year criminal investigator. There's all kinds of things I'm good at. One of the things I'm really good at is asking questions. I'm super good at that. I'm also super good at getting to the truth, okay? We're all good at something. So in the What Am I Good At worksheet, we're going to write down what are the disciplines we have experience in and what are the things that we are good at. And then we're going to come together at our next meeting and we're going to share that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to fill that toolbox so we can help each other solve problems. There might not be a long list of problems to solve right away, but there might be in the future. Or there might be something that's been a burning issue on someone's mind for a long time, but they don't know what to do. In this group, we'll figure out what to do. We will figure out what to do. I make you that promise. I make you that promise. And I say that because I've done this in every company I've ever worked for. All I'm doing today is I'm behaving like I was when I was 30 years old in startup companies. There's nothing new under the sun. Does anybody remember that from Shakespeare? There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing. Okay. So before you leave today, be sure to pick up the What Am I Good At worksheet. And I want to add on to that. When you're writing what you're good at, remember, you don't have to share your skills and talents. If you'd rather keep them to yourself, that's okay too. Nobody's on the hook to do it, but I would like you to do it. Do it for me, okay? Do it for me.
Even if we're good at something and have decided we don't want to ever do it again.
That's A-okay.
You still want to know that you were once good at it?
One of the things I had to do at Northeastern University, my role there was to forensically examine computer disk drives. I hated it. It took me a week just to look at a stupid 20 gigabyte disk drive. It was awful. I don't ever want to do it again in my life. But if one of you guys came to me and said, Glenn, I need to examine this drive, I'd probably do it for you, okay? So that's what Ann is talking about. Remember, 100 seniors, Project 100 seniors, remember that, we're going to talk about that again. I want to glom on to what Kevin Roach said. Kevin brought up a good point about when does town meeting happen, right? And is that date, is that time good, okay? We're going to be talking more about that, and one of the things that might be possible is it might be possible, and Kevin, you can comment as in if you wish, it's in a town bylaw. Town bylaws can be changed. And you know how they get changed? Kevin's
Especially
going
with
to tell
100
you.
people. You know, if you get on the warrant article, we can change the town bylaw, that town meeting held on Saturday afternoons.
Strength in numbers.
Exactly.
Strength in numbers. Did everybody hear that? Strength in
When's
numbers,
the
right?
next town meeting again? I know it's probably.
May 14th.
Town meeting is May 14th. May 14th, 7 p.m. at the KP High School. However,
Middle.
oh, I'm sorry, KP Middle. I stand corrected.
High schools in Rentham.
Sorry. Wish I could take that back. That doesn't mean it will always be there, does it? I mean, it doesn't mean it will always be on that date and that time, depending upon what we do in this group. See this pink sheet? I drafted a bylaw amendment this morning at my desk to change town meeting from a weekday to a weekend. We'll be talking more about that. But this group will drive this, not me. It'll be this group, okay? So help me help you. I know how to write them. I know how to write them. They have to be written a certain way, don't they, Kevin? Or else it ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work, okay? I know how to write them, and I will write them. Okay, preview for our next meeting. We're gonna have a group sharing exercise about what I'm good at, okay? We're gonna talk about Project 100 Seniors. We're probably gonna talk about when we would like town meeting to happen, okay? And maybe a bylaw amendment, I don't know. We may be talking about that. Our next meeting is Saturday, April 5th, right here at 2 o'clock, Norfolk Public Library. Write it down in your calendar. And now, just a few words before we go. Be sure to follow our Facebook page. It's the best way I have to get information out to you right now. I don't have a website. I don't have a way to do it. We'll work on that, okay? We'll work to make that better, to make it better. One person cannot do the work that's required to sustain this group. If you just look at that table, there are hundreds of hours at work that have already been leveraged to this group. One person can't do it. I'm going to need help. So if anybody has an idea about who can or be willing to help co-lead the group or help in putting things together, let me know. One person already did, and I thank her for that very kindly. I would like us to be able to raise funds, but we cannot do that. We cannot be a 501c3 charitable organization because we have political activities. So we cannot do that. We'll have to find other ways. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? Keep thinking between now and the next meeting what you're good at. We're going to fill the toolbox next meeting. And let me just get to my last page here. Remember what I said last time. Tend the flame. Do not let the flame of this meeting go out between now and the next meeting. I have watched community groups rise and fall in this town for 30 years. And those that let the flame go out, they die. They die a miserable death. Do not let that happen, okay? Remember the 3 questions we talked about earlier. Here we go. Now we're going to answer them. Does this group want a published contact list that goes only to the group members, just us? How many people want a group contact list where we only have it, it's not public, it's just us? How many, show of hands, how many want that? Keep your hands counted so the scribe can count. It takes a nurse. It takes a nurse. All right, all right, all right. Okay. What day of the week and time works best to have this meeting? We've been having on Saturdays. It was by default. The weather's going to start getting nice on Saturdays. People aren't going to want to be in this room, probably. What day of the week works best for us? Open sharing. Open sharing.
Depends on our doctor's appointment.
100. It depends on
Usually not on Saturdays.
I wish I had something I could do in my life other than doctor's appointments. Okay, I didn't hear anything about a day of the week.
Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday or
Although
Sunday?
not Sunday.
No, Sunday would work.
Class is
Saturday,
still going.
I don't know, does Saturday, how, the majority say Saturday works for most people?
I think if people really want to come, they're going to make it happen, no matter when it is.
I like that attitude. That's the kind of attitude that makes groups work. Thank you for that. So unless I hear an objection, this meeting's going to keep going on Saturdays. I'm hearing objections. Not for long. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Saturdays. Time of day. Time of day. 2 o'clock work? 2 o'clock. Saturdays, 2 o'clock. Final question. Do we want to meet during the summer, June, July, and August? I will do the work. Kevin, go.
I say yes, I know some people are gonna say they go away, they have things to do in the summer, but you're losing 2 months out of the year to get things done.
I don't have anywhere to go.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, thanks to Kevin, I'm hearing that we're going to meet during the summer. Done, we're meeting during the summer. You guys are too easy. Okay, finally, we have to leave this room perfectly clean, or the library's not going to like me very much, and they're not going to like you either. So if you can, please stay and help us make this room ready for the next group. Please be safe on the way home today, and let me say to each and every one of you from my heart, thank you. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are absolutely welcome. I will help you. We will help each other. We're going to make this group work. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Big hand for us. Big hand for us. Thanks, everybody. Good meeting. Good meeting. You bet. You bet. Thanks to our baker, John Conti, and our scribe in the back. John, take a bow. Big hand for John Conti for his baking expertise.